Justice High begins by showing a girl named Chae-young, who is being shouted at while being pelted with paper by her friends at school. Chae-young is known to have been expelled from school for fighting with a schoolmate. The scene then switches to show the atmosphere in the teacher's room, where Chae-young and her father, Mr. Yang, are working on Chae-young's transfer to a new school. After learning that Chae-young was expelled from her old school for fighting, her homeroom teacher warns that the school will suspend students who are caught fighting. After taking care of her transfer to a new school, Chae-young sees a geeky young man named Jong-gu, who is being bullied by his friends. Jong-gu is often bullied because he is always reluctant to give cheats to his friends. At first, Chae-young doesn't want to interfere and wants to leave right away. However, when Jong-gu says something about fairness to his bullying, she gets interested and approaches them. Chae-young purposely records the bullying actions of Jong-gu's friends to make them angry. When they ask her to give up her cell phone, she refuses and they get into a fight. Chae-young can easily defeat Jong-gu's bullies, who are only big mouths but cannot defend themselves. Jong-gu, who witnessed Chae-young's prowess in martial arts, was stunned. The next day, when Chae-young first enters the new school, she turns out to be placed in the same class as Jong-gu and his bullies. After school, Jong-gu ventures over to Chae-young to thank her for her help the day before. However, with an icy expression on her face, Chae-young asks Jong-gu to stay away from her, even pretending not to know each other. The scene then switches and shows a chaotic atmosphere in a diner when some thugs are reluctant to pay for their food. Jong-gu then tries to warn the thugs to pay, but he gets bullied instead. The diner owner, who turns out to be Jong-gu's mother, then asks the thugs to get out of there. The next day, Chae-young is visited by a girl named Sena, who is her upperclassman. Sena is about to make calculations on Chae-young for beating up her men. Sena, who had intended to bully Chae-young, was actually humiliated in front of everyone. Jong-gu, who again witnessed Chae-young's courage in dealing with bullied students, then approached her again and asked her to teach him martial arts. Frankly, Chae-young refuses Jong-gu's request because she doesn't want to get involved with him or anyone else. However, Chae-young finally melts when Jong-gu says he wants to learn martial arts to defend his mother, who is often bullied by the thugs who mess up her mother's diner. Chae-young then takes Jong-gu to her father's karate dojo because her father is a karate martial arts coach. Mr. Yang is very happy with the arrival of Jong-gu, who wants to practice karate because it means his karate dojo finally has another student besides Chae-young after all this time. The scene then turns to Sena, complaining about Chae-young's presumptuous actions to the student council member Hae-sung. According to Sena, Chae-young should be severely punished for humiliating her and trampling on the dignity of seniors at school. The next day, Chae-young is summoned to the student council room to meet Jin-hyuk, the student council president. Jin-hyuk then asks Chae-young about the fight that happened. However, Chae-young said that she was only defending Jong-gu, who was bullied by Sena's men at that time. Hearing this, Hae-sung, who was also in the student council room with Sena, then told Chae-young to leave because, according to him, Sena's men were the ones who started the commotion. Back to Jong-gu, who was focusing on basic karate training together with Chae-young. Even though he felt pain all over his body due to the strenuous physical exercise, Chae-young kept encouraging him, and as time went on, they became closer. One night, all the administrators and student council members are seen partying to welcome the return of a young man named Kang-sik. But Hae-sung looks uninspired and chooses to go out with Jin-hyuk. Not long after, they argue because Jin-hyuk decided to join the gangsters and Hae-sung doesn't like his decision. The next day, while at school, Jin-hyuk is approached by a gangster leader named Sang-jin. They hold a meeting in the student council room and discuss everything about the things Jin-hyuk will do after officially becoming a member of the gangster. Sang-jin also goes to Hae-sung and invites him to join him. But Hae-sung refuses the invitation because he doesn't want to be a delinquent. On the other hand, Jong-gu is again being bullied by his friends, but this time he manages to fight off his bullies, which turns out to be just his imagination. Having not been able to fight them, Jong-gu was then a target. But then came Hae-sung trying to help Jong-gu. At first, Hae-sung can beat Jong-gu's bullies. However, Kang-sik, famous for being fierce and good at martial arts, suddenly appears and beats Hae-sung. Chae-young sees Jong-gu being bullied again, then helps him, and it turns out that she can beat Kang-sik quite easily. Hae-sung is surprised to see Chae-young, who can subdue Kang-sik easily, then decides to practice karate at Chae-young's father's dojo. Unlike Jong-gu, who wants to master martial arts to defend his mother, Hae-sung is willing to spend money on self-defense courses just to get close to Chae-young. However, Chae-young is cold to Hae-sung because he used to be part of the bully group at school. Ever since Jin-hyuk joined Sang-jin's group, gangsters have started taking over the school and harassing the students. With Kang-sik acting as the head of the delinquent students, they start forcing the other students to deposit money to the student council as tribute. Only Chae-young's class isn't required to deposit tribute, because Kang-sik doesn't want to get into another fight with her. One day, Jong-gu, who has a high spirit of justice, cannot tolerate the actions of delinquent students who are bullying a geeky student. Although Jong-gu has not mastered martial arts like Chae-young, he is still determined to defend the student, even though he must be battered. After school, Jong-gu then begs Mr. Yang to teach karate faster to defend himself and defend the oppressed. Mr. Yang then teaches Jong-gu some karate moves and tells him to practice harder. On the other hand, Hae-sung is also increasingly practicing karate, even though he first came to the dojo just to get close to Chae-young. Seeing Hae-sung's seriousness in practicing karate at her father's dojo, Chae-young's attitude softened even more towards him, and they became close friends. One day, Hae-sung takes Chae-young and Jong-gu for a walk. The three of them then went around the city while enjoying the scenery. Jong-gu invites his friends to stop by his mother's diner and introduce them to his mother on his way home. Jong-gu's mother is happy that her son is now more confident and has close friends. The next day, Hae-sung and Jin-hyuk get into a fight because Hae-sung is fed up with Jin-hyuk deliberately letting Sang-jin's gangster group bully the students at school. On the other hand, Jin-hyuk is also angry at Hae-sung, who he thinks has changed a lot and is acting holy, even though they used to often bully students at school. Jin-hyuk, who can't accept defeat after Hae-sung beat him, then asks Sena to harm Chae-young because he thinks that Chae-young is the one who has made Hae-sung change drastically. Not only that, but Chae-young's presence also threatens his influence at school, so he has ambitions to get rid of the girl. Sena, who secretly likes Hae-sung, then agrees to Jin-hyuk's plan to poison Chae-young. The next day, Sena invites Chae-young to the student council room. She says she wants to apologize to her and offers her a cup of poisoned tea. Sena then talks about Hae-sung. However, Chae-young looks indifferent and insists that she has no relationship with Hae-sung, who is only a student at her father's karate dojo. Realizing that Chae-young is actually a good girl, Sena can't bear to harm her and immediately slaps her hand when she is about to drink tea that has been mixed with poison. Jin-hyuk enters the room and sees that Chae-young is fine, then slaps Sena because he thinks she's incompetent to do her bidding. Kang-sik and some of his henchmen then ambush Chae-young, lock her up in the student council room. On the other hand, Jong-gu overhears the conversation of Kang-sik's men and finds out that they're keeping Chae-young in the student council room. Jong-gu then looks for Hae-sung and tells him about it. Hae-sung immediately calls Jin-hyuk and confirms that they are holding Chae-young in the student council room, asking Hae-sung to come there if he wants to save her. Hae-sung and Jong-gu then head to the student council room to save Chae-young, but they are confronted by Kang-sik and his men in the gym. Despite having to do their best to face Kang-sik and his men, Hae-sung and Jong-gu manage to beat them all. After that, Hae-sung and Jong-gu go to the council room and fight Jin-hyuk. Covered with bruises and almost completely drained of energy, Hae-sung and Jong-gu seem overwhelmed against Jin-hyuk. Hae-sung even lays down helplessly. However, it turns out to be a ploy to free Chae-young. When Jin-hyuk's attention turns to Jong-gu, Hae-sung frees Chae-young, and she immediately gets up to fight Jin-hyuk. It doesn't take long for Chae-young to subdue Jin-hyuk. After Jin-hyuk gives in to defeat, the three of them then leave the student council room. The film ends by showing Mr. Yang's karate gaining more students, ensuring enough income to meet his and Chae-young's needs.